Good morning. Welcome back to the Football Terrace. We're covering Nuno out and it's all the outrage that's being pushed by Tottenham fans at the moment. Could he be on his way out? Could he be a dead man walking? Or is it not worth the energy? Is it not worth the push? Is it not worth the outrage from Tottenham fans at this moment in time? We're going to delve into some of the stories circulating that Nuno Espirito Santo under increasing pressure at White Hart Lane to deliver. We saw his odds crash from 25-1 to 4-1 to be the next manager to leave his job. Also touching on Kalvin Phillips, the Manchester United reports today that he could be now the main midfield target of the Red Devils after Man United have, quote unquote, ended their pursuit of Declan Rice. We're going to take a look at that transfer news for you in this show. And I want to delve into the Bruno Fernandes situation as well. A lot of stick, a hell of a lot of stick going towards the Portuguese midfielder due to his, I agree, very nauseating kind of, I'm really sorry I missed the penalty tweet. We've been building up to this for a long time now in the football community with apologies, PR teams writing statements for people. It's been going on for a long time, but I want to delve into it and some of the hypocrisy behind it maybe and what I want to see from fan bases now towards their own players as well. Or is this just a Bruno Fernandes targeted shaped hole, if you like, in relation to this way to stick it to him and Manchester United? I want your thoughts. I want your feelings. Make sure you're smashing that like button. And I want to celebrate this wonderful piece of content again. Igal deserves to go absolutely viral for this. It was beautiful on Sunday. Smash the like button. Let's go. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Well done to him. Do you know what I mean? Like, he got some real nice attention after that. And I think, you know, from a content creator's point of view, it's always nice to just for people to say that was funny and it made me laugh. That's why we enjoy content. Do you know what I mean? It is there for entertainment, but it's entertainment because it's natural. It's natural emotion. It's natural feeling. It's beautiful to see. So there we go, man. Morning, Matt. I will sort out a time to come onto your podcast. Just running out of time at the minute. Remember, Fan Park Live with a new name is back tonight after the Champions League games. Myself and Lee Gunner at 4:30 with straight facts as well. So lots going on today on the Football Terrace. I'm literally here now, and then I head to London for the day. Very, very excited indeed. So make sure you stay with us. Make sure you stay with us throughout the entirety of the day. I want to talk about Kalvin Phillips to begin with, though, ladies and gentlemen, because the Phillips news is really interesting. The Phillips news is really interesting to me because I don't quite understand where it's come from. Manchester United have not ended their pursuit, their chase of Declan Rice. Why would they at this stage? Now, at this moment in time, it looks very much like Man United and Chelsea and other clubs have not made a mistake, but their gamble may not pay off. The gamble was don't pay for him. Don't pay the 80 to 100 million pounds being asked for this summer. Let's see if we can get the price down next year. There's still quite a decent amount of time left on Declan Rice's contract, but so far this season, Declan Rice has been performing exceptionally well. Exceptionally well. There's no doubt about it. Tremendous football player. He really is a tremendous football player. And, you know, I think we've all at times kind of, I think with Declan Rice at times, I know I definitely did it during an England game at the Euros, where I was kind of frustrated. At the performance from him. But actually, you know, watching him in the West Ham team this year, forgetting that he's still only 22 years of age, 23 by the end of this season, he's still learning. His price and valuation is going to remain about the same. He's improving in quality, is going to increase his valuation, but of course he's going to go into the final 2 years of his contract. At the moment, he's refusing a new deal at West Ham. With everything we've seen go on with the likes of Harry Kane, I would be the most shocked man in the world if Declan Rice decided to to add 3 or 4 more years onto this contract. That'd be very, very strange for me. The idea that Man United have ended their pursuit of him and have turned all their attention to Kalvin Phillips, I think is hyperbolic. I think he's over the top, and I think he's exaggerated. There's definitely interest in Kalvin Phillips on the last few days of the season when the transfer window. Sorry, when the news around Dan James to Leeds surfaced. Man United made inquiries about the possibility of doing something with Kalvin Phillips. So I would say there's definite traction that Man United will target Kalvin Phillips. Ending the Declan Rice pursuit, I very much doubt. However, it's great PR. We all know the preferred destination of Declan Rice, and that's Chelsea Football Club. He would join Man United. He would join Liverpool. Both made inquiries. But the one thing Man United also not going to allow to happen is for the media to push the story all year that Declan Rice is the man, just for him to go and play at Stamford Bridge. They will avoid that PR disaster every single day. That's what they're going to aim to avoid, is that happening. That's what they're striving to not allow to happen. So what I would say to people is very much this: Declan Rice is the main target of Man United. I'm strong enough as a man to accept the fact that we're not his number one choice. This it kind of is what it is in relation to that. But yeah, the Kalvin Phillips news, there is truth to the interest in him, and we will target him, but ending the pursuit of Declan Rice is not true. Terry, I read a couple of weeks ago from the Manchester Evening News that Man United have called their interest in Rice as there are some concerns with part of his play. For me, mate, that's just PR. I don't believe that for a single second. Not for a single second. The reason Man United didn't go in heavy and hard for any other midfielders is because of their want for Declan Rice. It's as simple as that. There just wasn't the money to buy him this summer. I remember speaking to Dean Jones. By the way, the Done Deal show is returning very, very soon. We had a little break after the transfer window ended. It will be back very, very soon, bringing you transfer news, managerial situations, and all sorts of the inner goings on at football. The Done Deal show will be back very soon on the Football Terrace. I look at it this way, really, that Man United have looked at Declan Rice for a while. They didn't have the money because we didn't sell the players we thought we would sell. I still think if money would have been proper money would have been put on the table for the Martials and the Lingards and maybe even the Matiches of this world, there would have been a deal done. But it didn't go through and didn't happen. Let's do some more of your comments. Get your super chats in as well. Have you got any questions for me this morning? Man like Matt says you should get a Chelsea show going. So many Chelsea creators and news to talk about. Yeah, do you know what it is? We cover Chelsea quite a bit on the terrace. It's just about, I would say that I've had a little bit of not a downturn, but I've kind of just held back really from doing sort of more than 2 streams a day for a few weeks, really, because since the end of the transfer window, just to kind of take a bit of a break and a rest and to push forward. In terms of club-specific shows, we had them on the terrace and they will return to the terrace. But what we like to do here is recycle. Like, like when you farm land and it's like you leave one area fallow for a certain period of time. That's what we like to do with content. So it's like, okay, we'll stop this barring match reactions. It's to stop this type of content for a few months and then we'll come back to it. One thing that I don't enjoy as a consumer of content is when the same shows, barring match reactions that have to exist because football doesn't end, it's almost like I don't really want to talk transfers every day for at least a month after the transfer window shuts because it's a bit nauseating. Does that make sense? So, yeah, I mean, the club-specific shows will return. Thank you very much, Matt, for that comment. Big Chelsea following on the terrace. Now, we are going to get onto Nuno in a few moments. I wanted to speak about Bruno Fernandes for a second here as well today because I've seen a lot of outrage towards Bruno Fernandes. Fernandes has almost been the catalyst here to everybody throwing their toys out their pram about these PR tweets. Now, for me, they've been going on forever. How many times have you seen an Arsenal, Liverpool, Man United, Man City, Chelsea player tweet things like "we go again," blah 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 after they lose a game? Bruno isn't the first. Bruno isn't the last. The way he's been targeted, I think he's like the straw that broke the camel's back. But everybody's been at it. I felt that Bruno's been targeted largely because he's Bruno Fernandes of Manchester United. So it's kind of cool and kind of nice to stick it to a Man United player you know, and whatnot. It was an horrible tweet. We missed the penalty and we lost the game. We don't need war and peace and apologies every single step of the way. What I will say, though, to fans is that you created this. When teams were losing and players were making mistakes and saying nothing, and then we would see the paparazzi snap them 2 days later at a restaurant smiling, we'd do our nut. How dare you be happy? I'm not happy. My team's lost 3 games in the last 4. How dare Bruno Fernandes go out for dinner with his wife and kids and smile? We've gone from that type of anger to, I don't want these false apologies. Like, at the end of the day, you either want an apology or you don't. Football fans have got to make their minds up here. We flip-flop like the weather when it comes to morality choices. Forget your opinion on a footballer or a manager. That's fair to change. But 1 minute we want a sorry, the next minute we don't. And for me, I want the players to stop, again, with this nauseating apologies and whatever. I don't read any of it. The same as I don't watch managerial press conferences anymore because it's all just PR bullshit. Anyone that watches press conferences is an idiot. I'm legit calling you an idiot in a nice way. Why? The questions are pre-prepared. The club don't allow tough questions. They legit don't allow them. So why are you watching? What are you going to learn? Just read the damn website afterwards. It's all going to be watered down BS. Whenever a player tweets after a game, it isn't even them. It isn't even them. A fairly famous person followed me recently on socials and I was really happy. I messaged them and said, thanks. They broke my heart. They said, oh, sorry, it's not actually him. I'm the PR person. I like watching your stuff. So I followed. I was like, oh, my days. Honestly, it broke my little heart. It legit broke my heart. But yeah, the Bruno Fernandes thing, listen, my message to him, and not that Bruno's watching, is don't do it anymore. I'd rather not hear from you. I would rather see your action on the field of play next. What I would say to fans that are having a pop at him, I know that there's an extra 50, 60, 70% annoyance because it's Bruno Fernandes in Manchester United. I haven't seen any of you do this to your own players. I will be watching. I will be seeing whether you do it or not to see whether you actually have a genuine disdain for the behavior or whether it's just how can we double down and stick it more to Man United. We'll see. We'll see. That's on you guys now, not me, in relation to that. But that's just my thoughts and feelings. I want to know what yours is here. Lewis here says, I completely disagree, Terry. We did not cause that these players just feel sorry for themselves and feel a need to justify their failures. No, I think we did play a part in it. I think we played a massive part in it as people. What ends up happening in life is things escalate. So people start, it's almost like you guys don't show us you care when we lose. So they start putting out 1-word, 2-word apologies. Oh, look at the traction we get. And this is where it then becomes a knock-on effect. Wow, look. My popularity rises when I apologize after a loss, when I write things, and they just grow and things escalate. It's a snowball effect. And then you end up at a point where we're writing 2-3 paragraph essays to say sorry for missing penalties and losing games. But go back to the starting point. They started to put these messages out because we were angry that we don't care like we do. They just go back to their mansions and their Ferraris. That may not be you specifically, Lewis Lee, but that was football fans. And how do I know that? Been taking your calls for 5-6 years, listening to it. So I would say this to people: you're bang on. It's gone too far with these self-indulgent apologies. But when they go silent now after losing, I don't want to hear any moaning. I want to hear zero moaning, not one bit. Just go, yeah, cool, crack on, happy days. That's what we now need to see, as far as I'm concerned. Next up on this morning show, by the way, it's one of our quick shows today. I'm going to allow you guys to phone up in a minute, have you say KJ's backstage, and he's coming on as well. Mohammed says all about the money. I hear you on that. I really, really do. I really do. I want to talk Bruno. I need to talk Bruno. Not Bruno. Yes, Nuno, not Bruno. I need to speak about Nuno this morning as well. Interesting reports that I've been reading. There's a quote here from Sammy from the Daily Mail, who says here that some members of the Tottenham squad have found his training sessions refreshing. Others have found the Portuguese just as grumpy as Mourinho in his closing weeks at the club. I have seen so many reports like this in the last few weeks, in the last few days. Players being disgruntled, players unhappy with Nuno, fans unhappy with the way he's playing. With what I'm reading, legit, he feels like a dead man walking. Legit, it feels like a dead man walking right now. I don't see how Nuno gets out of this situation unless he changes his style of play. That's like legitimately it. It's the only way you can do it is if he changes his style of play, the way he does things, etc. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that. But I think he could be sacked pretty soon, you know. Legitimately think he could lose his job really soon. It's especially after the embarrassment that Daniel Levy has suffered in the past 24 hours. Antonio Conte rejecting you because your ambition isn't high enough is embarrassing, but normal. Antonio Conte is a serial winner. Tottenham are not. Totally get it. Totally get it. Graham Potter rejecting you. Graham Potter rejecting you. Daniel Levy is having a nightmare. The only way Daniel Levy recovers from that is to bring in somebody better than Graham Potter, who plays better football, and to improve the way they play football by removing the kind of, at the moment, the scapegoat. And Nuno, by the way, is a scapegoat right now for where Spurs are as a football club, because it's what's easy and accessible to go for the manager. I think that's where Nuno could be walking a tightrope. Levy's all the things you can say about Mr. Levy. He's a smart man. He's a clever man. He'll start looking at the situation and be like, okay, well, if we keep, maybe a few more games, if we lose a few more, if we get embarrassed again. I wouldn't be surprised if they started to do work now, looking at replacements. Who could we get? Who would be a name that would excite people? Who would make the Spurs faithful go, okay, let's get behind this one? Because they get behind the manager, they get behind the club. And it relieves the pressure. Because we moan about Bruno Fernandes' tweet, and rightfully so. These clubs are the biggest PR merchants. Your football club, whose shirts you buy and tickets you buy, are the biggest PR merchants out there. I think Daniel Levy could sack him to make himself and Spurs just look better. And to almost, one of the final scenes of Lord of the Rings, where Frodo and Sam and that are like near the foot of, I don't even know what the mountain was called, where the volcano is, right? In Mordor. And they were like, right, they're going to get caught. So what did like Aragon and all them men do? They went to the gates and like, yo, we're here. So the eye switched to them. Right? Do you remember that? That's what football clubs do. How can we get the attention away from us and put it somewhere else? How do we make the fans go, oh, I'm so excited. Look what's happened to Arsenal in the last few days. Yes, some wins, some great PR and some great photos being shared. And they're going to win the league again. Mad. That's what I'm saying here to football fans. Don't let Nuno, if you're a Spurs fan and you're not happy with how your club is being run, keeping or sacking Nuno in the short term, don't let up on Enoch. Don't let up on the club. If you do that, you're only going to, again, you're setting yourself up for more and more failure, in my opinion. We have a member super chat here from a man like Suts, who says, who's 18 months as a legend and super fan, thank you very much, says, how much price difference is Phillips against Declan Rice, though? Leeds will bump up the price. Yeah, I don't think there's much of a difference in price between the two, if I'm being honest. Maybe around 20 million pounds, something along those lines. But I think Declan Rice is the better player. So there we go. Let's have a look at some of these comments here. Cronky in, Levy in. I hear you on that. Please get Ollie. I've seen from people today, please get Ollie out now. I get you on him out. But there we go. Probably going to be the next person to be sacked, but who is there to replace him? The thing is, I keep hearing that as well. Who do you get to replace him? To a degree, you can get whoever you want. Offer them the money. If I was Tottenham, I'd go back for Antonio Conte, but I would give him what he wants. He only said no because you were like, no, we don't want to win, and you do. Like, legitimately, he said no because you don't want to win. Yet you man all renewed your season tickets for that. Come on, think about it. I renewed my season ticket. I said this to United fans recently. Listen, United fans can support Man United however they want. That is their choice. But I can speak about it however I want. That's the deal here, bruv. That's the deal here, bruv. I see everyone in the, literally, there's I saw a picture of some people I know all at the game. Not the last home game, one before, Newcastle. All kitted out in the United stuff. Megastore bag with gifts in. That's cool. Do you? Their profiles will say Glazer out. So it makes my laugh come out. You're Glazer out, but you're giving them money. It don't make sense, bruv. Honestly, my analogy to it has always been this. If heaven forbid, it's a serious analogy because I need to let you know how serious I take this. If any of my children, heaven forbid, ever become hooked on any drug, but a serious drug, I am locking them in a room, cold turkey. They're sweating that out till they're done. I'm not going to go, they're in pain. I'm going to go buy them some crack. That's what you're doing to your football club. Feeding your bad owners with money is feeding the habit that you despise and is breaking your heart. Tough love is needed. That's just, it's been my fault for years. The irony in it is, I've been saying it for years. No one does it. And we're all still in the same situation. And people go, why is nothing changing? The irony as well. We all tweet about it and moan about it. But actually, we change nothing in terms of our actions. Just like the players that make us feel sick. I don't want to see you tweet about improving. Just go and improve. That's my feelings towards a lot of football fans. I hate my football club. I hate my owners. What are you doing this weekend? I'm going to the megastore. They're going to go drop 100 quid on the bar. Then they're going to go buy a program. Then I'm going to sit there and watch the game and give 200 or 300 quid a weekend to the club that I despise at the moment. Honestly, they've got us. They've got us by the short and curlies, haven't they? They've legit got us by the short and the curlies. Listen, KJ's joining me now for the final part of the show. Smash that like and share button, people. Let's go. Morning, mate.
Yo.
Yeah, what's your take on this tweet PR stuff?
I tweeted this out already. Yeah, football fans are so entitled. Shut up, man. We created this. I don't care. Anyone says we created this. From the moment you start complaining that the players are out of touch, they don't communicate with us, they don't care about the club, it gives them a reason to start coming out and saying things. People used to cuss them for not speaking. Now that they start to come out and speak, you're cussing them for speaking. It makes no flipping sense, Terry. It makes me sick. Personally, I don't flipping care if they apologize or not. Whatever you need to do to make yourself better on the football pitch, do that. So if that's saying nothing, like Aaron Basak after the red card, and you get better, cool. If that's you feel like you want to say to the fans, I apologize for this loss, cool, do that. Why do we care what they do? At the end of the day, it's their personal choice. Because when they don't, literally, they get abused for no matter what they do. Someone's getting abused for saying sorry. What are we? What kind of flipping world are we living in? You know how ridiculous that is.
Bruv, do you know what's crazy about it as well? Like, I agree with their thoughts towards it. Like, I don't take them seriously because I know it isn't the person. When my son was born, Rashford tweeted me. I kind of know that Rashford didn't. Someone else did, and they used Rashford's name. Does that make sense? Like, I don't believe, and I don't mean it rudely towards Rashford. You know how much I love him. Someone's running his account. Like, these footballers, like, I just can't imagine that these footballers sit there of an evening on Twitter tweeting people. I think they're a little busy. Like, do you know what I mean? Living their best life. Like, if I had their money, I wouldn't be on Twitter. I wouldn't be up in the comments section. I'd be like, I'd have a person. If I had enough money now, I wouldn't do my own tweets, bruv. If I had enough money, KJ, I'd pay you to do it. Yeah, exactly. Like, no, I'm only messing. But like, I honestly think that a lot of the outrage was because it was an extra bat to hit Man United over the head with. I feel that's where it's come from, because why this weekend over... Like, because Bruno wasn't necessarily apologising just for the penalty miss. It was the penalty miss that led to us losing, that infuriated Man United fans. But what you said is right. It's like I made the comment to somebody earlier. Maybe we didn't want this level of sorry and apology, but we demanded this kind of behaviour from football fans, from football players, and then we get it, and then we moan. And that's my point. It's like we do this to ourselves. We moaned and moaned and moaned. There was no technology in football. We bring in technology, then we moan that we've got technology. We start using it less now. Oh, why aren't they showing us the lines? Why are they not overturning the referee's decisions? Well, last year you were moaning they were overturning too many decisions. We're never ever happy as people. I'm one of these people. Like, if I ask for something and it happens, it's like, oh damn. Do you know what I mean? It's there now. It's, you know, I've seen a few people that I know personally that were Brexiters, and now moaning there's no petrol, bro. We all said this could happen. Like, that's on you. I don't want to hear you moan about it because we kind of told you these things would happen. Equally, I'm not tweeting about it like I told you so, because again, I think the I told you so people are just as bad. We have a super chat here that says, I personally expect players to apologize because no matter how big the mistake is, I know it was a mistake. Yeah, and if you expect someone to apologize, I bet you've not been moaning about the apologies coming out. On Nuno as well, I know we spoke about it yesterday on the Terrace Top 6, but more and more of these stories are kind of coming out of the club. Like, do you think this is like the Levies of this world and the Enochs leaking this, almost trying to test the water? You know, would sacking him now work for us? Would it be against us? Like, what's your take on the Nuno situation?
It's a weird one. It's a real weird one, because it's kind of like there's only a few occasions that you ever see a manager get sacked before their first 10 games. You know what I mean? Especially at a new club, especially at a club the size of Tottenham as well. That don't normally happen. So to see all these things come out, I don't necessarily think it's the club doing it in terms of the PR machine. The club, I think maybe it's some of the players letting the disdain be out there. I think maybe it's the players starting to try and orchestrate something behind the scenes. Because let's be honest now, if journalists have links to clubs and clubs give them information via officials, then players can also have links to these journalists. Interview them, you know what I mean? So let's not act like they can't do that. So I personally think maybe it's the players starting to be like, you know what, yeah, we didn't want this. We didn't ask for this. We want someone better. Let's get our disgruntlement out there and see what happens. Because at the end of the day, they want to be the best team in England. No player plays for a team and doesn't want to be the best version or the best team. So they're probably seeing the way the club is run, and they're like, nah, this is not it. And maybe they're trying to put pressure onto the board themselves and be like, oh, listen, we're your playing squad. We're not happy. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, no, mate, I totally get that, bro. I totally get that. I feel like, and players have got a right to do that to an extent as well. I think one thing we always ignore, and I definitely ignored it in my younger years as a football fan, is what were the players promised? Now, I don't necessarily agree with player power, but that's where it's down to I look at the Harry Kane situation, and I know he gets I don't feel sorry for him as a man. Man's a millionaire living his best life. But on a professional level, I don't think Spurs have delivered. The fans tell us they haven't delivered the promises they made. So if the fans feel it, then the players are going to feel it too, aren't they? And I think that's the issue being looked at here. Tyrone here says, why do you care so much about Tottenham when United aren't doing that great? Also, didn't think you would read this comment. I read as many comments as I can. Why do I care? We cover Tottenham, one of the teams we cover on the Football Terrace. It's a big trending story, so we're talking about it. Man United's situation doesn't change problems that are going on. I mean, if you just think about that logic, if we only spoke about things that we were one of, so that would mean in this world I can only have an opinion or speak about things that are related to Man United, Surrey, because that's where I live, or England, because that's where I live, and to men, but only men. What box you put me in? What a weird world! Like, literally, imagine that. Do you know what I mean? Literally, Tyrone, like, you can't have an opinion on anything that you're not one of. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you can't say United ain't doing that great because you're a United fan. So how are you supposed to know if we're doing good or not?
I mean, yeah, I just think about it. Like, I always have that conversation with people. It's like everyone's entitled to an opinion on anything. If we were limited to what we're professional in, or what we are is in the weird boxes that we get put into demographically or whatever, like we'd never be able to have an opinion on anything. Like I care about what's going on at Tottenham. If I'm being really blunt, I talk about the problems at other clubs because I care that clubs are run well. I'm actually not one of these fans who I don't enjoy seeing clubs run poorly for a long period of time, because I've seen it happen to my club, and I know how much these clubs mean to local communities, people nationally and internationally as well. Sorry, Terry, I meant I don't expect them to apologize, like when Alisson gave away goals against City. Yeah, listen, I hear you, bro. And if you don't expect people to apologize, then that's good as well. It's one of them things for me. I think we're sometimes really harsh on professionals for making mistakes. Like I've seen Anthony Joshua get a lot of stick, and it's sort of like, yeah, he got beaten by. I saw a lot of people tweeting, "Oh, I can't believe it." I'm like, you don't watch boxing then. Like, if you don't know how good Usyk is, what they saw a little man, and they were like, "Oh, he's tiny. He's an European. What's he gonna do to AJ? AJ's a big man. Look at the size of his shoulders." Well, then you don't watch boxing. So okay, that's where I would say to people, slow the opinion down a bit and listen to the educated people. Like the way I saw people going, "I can't believe this. How did he get beat?" I saw one guy tweet, "How'd you get beat by that little bum?" I'm like, if you think Usyk's a bum, like you don't understand fighting. But after the level of abuse I've seen AJ get, like, I don't mind a bit of trolling and a bit of banter, but it's like, yeah, fraud, career's done. It's like, are you mad? Like he could win the rematch. Like he has the ability to. It's a madness, but that's society for you, I suppose. I wasn't surprised about the AJ loss. Yeah, I mean, he did get outclassed. I'm surprised he didn't try to knock the guy out. That's the only bit that confused me more than anything. I was like, 2-3 rounds to go. You know you're losing. Why aren't you throwing these big bombs? Why are you not throwing these big bombs? But there we go. Quickly before we go, mate. Kalvin Phillips to Man United. What are you saying?
Yeah, if he improves our midfield, get him in. He's a talented player, a good player. Not as young as people think he is. I think he's one of these players, kind of like Jesse Lingard, that has this young tag attached to them when they're really an old man. I think he's around, 25, 26? So he's getting towards his prime years now. So he's no longer a young buck. But I like the look of him. I liked him during the Euros. He did the box-to-box role very well. And then when he needed to defend, he did the defensive role well. So I feel like he's an upgrade on our midfielders. We need to see a little bit more of him in the Premier League. And it's a bit hard. It's actually kind of hard to fully judge him because he plays in a Bielsa team where they play in such a way that it excuse things, like it's just absolutely mad the way that they play. So it's hard to fully judge, but I like the fact that we're hearing some kind of alternatives to Declan Rice as well. Because there's also reports coming out that we're interested in Frank Kessie, who is available on a free next summer. You can pre-contract in January. Talented midfielder, 24 years old, plays for AC Milan. So we're starting to see more midfield options be linked to Manchester United, which we've been waiting for the last 2 years. So it's a good sign, and I'll take either three of them that I've mentioned today.
Yeah, of course. And, like I said in the summer, I wanted those deals done in the summer. I wanted these players in it. I would have preferred a midfielder in the summer. But the Man United transfer approach in the last couple of years has been perfect. It's, well, we've got a handful of targets that we're happy with. If we don't get one of them, then we're not going to move forward. You've got the Ndidi option. But what's interesting about the Ndidi thing? With Declan Rice as an example, it's the way he progresses the ball from those deeper roles, which is why I think that they're looking at him over Ndidi. It's the way he can move that ball into the final third, both with his passing and carrying. The distribution, in my opinion, of Declan Rice is better than Ndidi's. And actually, that might be the reason why they're going, okay, Ndidi's a great option, but he's an 80, 90 million pound player as well. Why not pick the one that we think is the better technical football player? And I know, again, Declan Rice, like Maguire, like Ben White, we know the exact reason why these players don't get the credit they deserve for how good they are as footballers. It's because of their passport at the end of the day. If we end up with Ndidi, by the way, you're not going to see me crying. But Declan Rice being 22 years of age, I think has such a high ceiling. And I know that so does Ndidi, there's no doubt about it. But I just think that the United are going to look for the player that progresses the ball the best. And interestingly, if we're looking for the player that progresses the ball the best, it gives me a little bit more faith in the longer term plan of the club, that we're looking for players that are technically gifted. Like we went for a Varane type defender and not someone that was just a a physical specimen. It's someone that can who can play the ball better. Like that's what we seem to be looking for. But we'll see what happens at the end of the day. Someone here says English tax. Listen, bruv, do you know why English tax exists? I was talking to someone about this yesterday. English tax exists because it's a commodity. A homegrown player is worth money because there's a quota to fill. So it's a tangible asset. Thus, there's more money. And secondly, it's the marketability. Biggest league in the world. Millions of people watch the Premier League every weekend who don't support a Premier League club, but they support England. I still, honestly, when I'm not going to speak about it because when I start talking about it, I feel my anger and my blood pressure rising in my body. It's almost, you want to say English tax like it's some weird xenophobic thing. It isn't. It's literally a money thing. And if you can make more money out of an English player potentially than the majority of international stars, they're going to cost more money. In the same reason that your Paul Pogba's cost more than your Marco Verratti's, because the marketability of a Paul Pogba is so much higher than Verratti. Their technical ability doesn't matter for their overall price. You're buying that potency on social media with marketing. So there's a Pogba tax when it comes to buying a football player. By the way, after what he's done in the last 2 years, there's not only an English tax, but there's a Rashford tax. That guy is worth, he's weighting gold because he's loved and adored. He's loved and adored now by people that don't even watch football. So imagine you want to buy Rashford, but with what he's done socially, the country loves him. So that love is worth money. as Daniel and Jess so eloquently said the other day, the reason why Henry was the GOAT is because of how much everybody loved him. You saw Mupai yesterday almost blushing, talking to him on Monday Night Football because he's like, oh my God, I grew up watching you. That love is worth money. If it's worth money and you want to take that person from club A and put them into your club B, I'm charging you for that. We lose that asset. So honestly, like the English tax thing, it's got to stop. It's got to stop. Education is needed. And it just got to stop because people are just, they're twisting it into something negative that it isn't for me. And it's becoming nauseating now. It really, really is. Really is. But listen, someone said Ndidi is trash. Come on. Ndidi's not trash, bruv. He's quality. He's absolute quality. That's a weird comment to make. What's this say here? It makes sense. It's like food made in your country. Food made in your country will always be more reliable as you would trust the resources from your country. I think it's... See, I don't ever get that. I'm a bit weird like that. I'm like, I don't care whether it says New Zealand lamb or British lamb. I'm like, it's lamb to me. But I hear where you're coming from.
I can't get the whole so kind of like the free range eggs versus normal eggs. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I think it's more that it's like, oh, okay, that's probably better for me or whatever it is. But I do get your point. Some things are more expensive. You know, I remember I was abroad once. I think I was in the Cape Verde Islands, and I was like, oh, how much? I went to buy a bottle of whiskey, and it was like a brand that you get here, and it was like 80 quid. And I'm like, why is it so expensive? It's the tax you've got to pay, and it's just to get it into this country. We have to add the tax on. And that's the point. Like how much they would charge to import it meant they have to charge ridiculous amounts of money when selling it. Literally, the English tax is real, but people act like it's only because they've got a British passport. You're ignoring why it exists. And if you accept why it exists, it shouldn't trigger you because it's just a normal thing. But there we go. Yeah, by the way, New Zealand lamb is amazing, by the way. Legit, New Zealand lamb is banging. It's so well grazed and put together. So there we go. Someone said, where's that? So I swear I read a comment. Someone says, what about English oranges? Yeah, you don't grow oranges here. Not naturally. It's not warm enough, bro. There we go. Do me a favor and smash that like and share button. We're back for 30 million League Gunner. Looking forward to it. Until then, take care. Good.